Well, hello there, you tallywhackle ticklers. It's your pal, Kevin Gootee. You know it's time for a brand new episode of Gutting the Sacred Cow. This week, Natalia Reagan joins us for the first time, and boy, does she knock feminism back to 1961 when she goes after the absolute chick flick classic, Breakfast at Tiffany's. That's right, every single woman in college had this on her dorm room poster. Had this poster on her dorm room wall, and guess what? She's not impressed. Well, who is joining me as guest host today? Oh, that is a secret that is well worth keeping. Let's see if Natalia Reagan can really just sock it right to Audrey Hepburn in that dumb song from the 1990s. You know, I'm something of a scientist myself. Guest host, Kevin Israel. Oh, twice now he's back. Kevin Israel, name that film.
God. You know what? I think even if I knew it, I would pretend like I don't just to keep with the brand.
Our guest today is Natalia Reagan. Natalia, welcome to the show. Do you know what quote that movie is from?
God, no. I know back off, man. I'm a scientist, but not that
Yeah,
one.
it's not.
Nope.
For a second, I thought it was Ghostbusters, but it's not.
It is not. Kevin Israel, I'm very disappointed in you. I thought you would have nailed this with ease. That would, of course, be the first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I'm sure, well, with all the memes out there, I thought you would have hung in
Yeah.
your craw.
Yeah.
Kevin Gootee, an old reliable Kevin Israel here. Gutting the Sacred Cow, the best goddamn movie review / movie debate podcast out there, where we invite a guest to pick a film they find overrated or hate and try to convince us to see their argument. But the twist being, you must choose a film that is widely beloved, critically acclaimed, or a financial success, us giving the platforms to those with unpopular opinions about popular films. How's that for an elevator speech?
That was I'll donate.
Excellent.
Take my money, please.
And that's what you say. And of course, you can do that by emailing us at guttingthesacredcow@gmail.com to advertise. So I can take your money. Yeah, isn't it good? Breakfast at Tiffany's is the film of choice Natalia has chosen. I have thoughts, Kevin has thoughts, but let's get into some facts first. A 1961 budget. At the time, $2.5 million, a box office haul of $14 million. Now, 1961 money to 2023 money. Ooh, that's where this gets fun, right, kids? A budget of $2.5 million. In today's money, that's $25 million. A box office haul in 1961 of $14 million. And of course, a box office haul in 2023 money, $140.8 million.
Nothing to sneeze at.
No.
Nothing to sneeze at all. IMDb, folks, 1 through 10 with decimal points. Natalia, what do you think Breakfast at Tiffany's got on the old IMDb?
Oh God. I'm gonna go with an 8.4.
8.4, Kevin Israel.
7-8.
7.6.
Ah,
Oh.
Not that far away. Kevin Israel, Rotten Tomatoes, you're very well aware, is a scale 1 through 100 percentage points. Of course, what did the critics give this film?
Oh, I feel like the critics love this movie. I'm going to say an 88.
88, Natalia Reagan.
Ooh, I'll go with 85.
88, someone's got 2 showcases on the fabulous
Damn.
Price is Right.
Yeah, buddy.
He's done this for 160 some episodes.
I feel better. I feel better. Okay, thank you.
You'd figure he'd get better right around now. Let's go back to you, Natalia. What do you think the audience gave Breakfast at Tiffany's?
Ooh, it's such a beloved film. College girls have their posters all over their rooms.
That's in my notes. How dare you?
It is. It's so true. I'm gonna go with 90.
90, Kevin Israel.
72.
91. She
Wow.
right on top. You two are both on top.
Oh my
of your
God!
game.
Yay!
Way to go, Natalia. Jesus.
Quotes. Timber. That's the only quote I have from this film. This is not a quotable film. Kevin Israel, any quotes out of you?
Yeah, but I think I transcribed it incorrectly, but I'll just say it the way I remember it. $50 for the powder room.
Natalia, any quotes jump out at you?
Cat?
I guess the cat didn't have a SAG card, did he?
No,
she?
no Taft-Hartley there.
Nice inside baseball reference.
You know.
5 fun facts. Do you want to take a stab who Truman Capote wanted to play, Holly? Huge hit. Do you know this, or are you guessing?
I know.
Kevin
Well,
Israel.
I know what the yeah, I think I do know this. So let's try
Defer. Kevin, who do you think?
I have no idea. No idea.
Natalia, what is your guess?
Marilyn Monroe.
Correctamundo. Truman Capote said the Paramount Pictures double-crossed him in every way when they casted Audrey Hepburn instead. The outspoken author proclaimed, "It is the most miscast film I've ever seen." Turning down the film, I don't think you're going to get either of these two. Shirley MacLaine and Kim Novak.
Wow.
You know, I knew nothing about this movie, but I think I could have seen Marilyn Monroe in it. I think that would have definitely been better casting for the part that it was.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, I have some thoughts on this about being, because they didn't think that she could handle the quippy language and the shrewd character and being so, charming, which I think is a big problem with how society views women that are sex symbols. They can't be smart and funny. They can't.
Number 2, Blake Edwards wanted who to play the George Peppard role, but he was still under contract and under control of television, would not allow him time off. Who did they originally want? Huge name in the 70s. I'll say that. Even 60s later on, but 70s for sure. Huge name.
I'm so bad with these early generation actors. I don't know.
Give me a guess, one of you, quickly.
Jack Nicholson.
Nope. Israel, nothing.
Nothing.
Steve McQueen.
Oh, fuck a duck.
Blake Edwards also suggested Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis was interested, but the producers were not. Tiffany's, the department store, opened on a Sunday for the first time since the 19th century to allow filming. 40 armed guards had to work on the floor to prevent thievery.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sterling silver telephone dialers that must have been wanted to be stolen by the cast and crew.
Can never have too many.
Well, the obvious I have to call attention to. Mickey Rooney, quote, "I was downright ashamed of my role in Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I don't think the director, Blake Edwards, was very proud of it either. He was more defensive in 2008 after a Sacramento screening of the film was canceled and after there were protests over Rooney's portrayal. They hired me to do this overboard, and we had fun doing it. Never in all the 40 years have we made it. Not one complaint. Every place I've gone, people in the world have said, 'God, you are so funny.'"
What?
Okay.
What?
You know who didn't say that? Probably all three of us.
Yeah.
With it, just taking a guess.
Or any Asian people.
And yeah,
Right.
Truman Capote was not a fan. He thought that, even back in 1961, he was like, this isn't cool. Like, no, no, dog.
Last and not least, the studio made sure she wasn't seen as a call girl. She was described by Paramount Pictures as a quote-unquote kook, and a press release was written and sent out during filming which quoted the actors in the film deferring the term kook. Producer Martin Giroux, "A kook is a kitten who will never grow up to be a cat."
It's funny because the Amazon description of the movie specifically says call girl.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I mean,
They should say a whore who doesn't bang.
And I kept looking at my wife going, so she's a hooker, right?
With a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
very
in a vagina of platinum.
We wouldn't know. It's hermetically sealed, this entire film.
What does that go for at Tiffany's? A vagina of platinum.
Hermetically
Engraved
sealed?
or not.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. Yeah, I want a monogrammed muff.
You know what?
I'm
That's
looking
the
for.
best punk band out of Sacramento you've not heard of. Monogram.
We
that's-
are monogrammed muff.
Can we start? The three of us should start a band called Monogrammed Muff. That would be
I mean, you're the lead
I'm
singer,
in.
Natalia. I'll be guitar. Oh, Israel, you're drums, duh.
Yeah, I played the drums.
Oh,
This is going to be the
shit.
worst punk band ever.
As long as you were that
Best
big
name.
yeah, best name,
Can I play
worst
the
band.
melodica?
We'll also have to play our final song. Have a song that features a recorder, and then we'll have to play the brown note so everyone shits themselves at the end of the show.
I want that. I want that so badly.
We're gonna pitch this our first live show, morning show with Bill and Joanne.
Yeah, there you go.
I joke that I've moved into cougar territory, but identify as a puma because anytime somebody who asks me out that is born after the Clinton administration, I poo my pants just a little bit. So
Hey-o.
I want to share that with everyone else. by playing.
Waka waka waka. You're a cougar. What, 34?
Yes, I'm 34. Thank you, Kevin.
You know, cougars in the industry are about 27. I've heard.
Yes, I used to.
No, or stepmoms.
Yes. Gilfs are about 38.
Yeah. Hey, my grandma was a grandma at 41, 40, I think.
Wow. She sure shot him out quick.
Fascinating family tree.
And
Yeah, exactly.
mom wasn't slow on the uptake either.
Well, actually, it was my dad. That was my dad's mom. My mom's 10 years older than my dad.
Oh.
Cougar blood courses through my veins. just so
Yeah.
you know.
It's in the family.
And welcome to Gutting the Sacred 23andMe. I'm Kevin Gootee.
Thank you for having me.
Listen, no one listens to podcasts till the end, so let's get our plugs out now. Hey, Natalia Reagan, what can we find you doing these days?
Well, you can find me on at TikTok at Behold Natalia. I make a lot of science comedy videos on Instagram at Natalia13Reagan, but I do lots of stand up in around Los Angeles. I'm doing a roast battle on April 4th. I don't know if this is going to come out before that, but yeah, you can just come see me do stand up and watch me make science comedy videos, usually about animal penises. Yeah, you heard me right. Give the people what they want.
Well, listen, I hate to see you taking food out of the mouth of Neil deGrasse Tyson, but you know what? You're better looking than he is.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. The beard's coming in, by the way. It's going to be a lot better in a few weeks.
Or is it the aforementioned platinum muff band we're going to start about? Is it down there?
The platinum muff.
That's all.
It's coming in.
Kevin Israel with the Al Borland from Home Improvement t-shirt on tonight. Well, what are you up to?
Also got a lot of comedy happening in April and May. You can go to my calendar on kevinisrael.com and find out where I'll be. I prepared poorly for this, so just go there, see where I'll be. And my album, The Struggle Is Real, is available everywhere you get audio stuff.
GuttingTheSacredCow.com is where you can find all the hip-hop, hooray, fantastic fashion, shirts, hats, mugs, you name it, it's there. GuttingTheSacredCow at gmail.com to advertise with us or just to say hi. And boy, oh boy, I am a sucker for 5-star ratings, 2 or 3 sentence reviews on your podcast platform of choice. And Kevin Israel sure knows I love to post those babies. So please give us that 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence review. If you are a new listener, we thank you. And let's kick it right over to the audience participation section in Ask a Gutter. Delvin Cox says Natalia Reagan is correct. Breakfast at Tiffany's is trash can emoji.
I like you.
Straight
to the point. Yeah,
that's Delvin Cox. Never a question. It's always fuck that movie. That's how our boy rolls.
I like that.
At Nemirovsky. So Natalia, which is more culturally relevant in 2023, the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's or the 90s song?
I would say Breakfast at Tiffany's only because the 90s song, it's two people arguing whether or not they have that in common, which tells me they're two people that are fans of the movie, which tells me they have trash taste.
Ooh. Fair.
Okay.
Fair.
I like it.
Yes.
And this was a very short Ask a Gutter. Oh, I'm sorry. Carly Kingsley. Breakfast at Tiffany's is my favorite Christmas movie.
What?
That's her. That's what she does. Everything
That's
you post
it?
on.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what she
no,
does.
I don't judge. That's fine. You know, I don't know. I don't remember snow, but that's okay. I mean, climate change, things are warming up. Maybe. Okay.
Maybe Tiffany's is actually
of...
Tiffany's down in Rio de Janeiro where it's flip-flopped.
There you go. Maybe she expects Tiffany's for Christmas. That's that perhaps is what she's thinking.
I do have a few more. I lied. I just clicked and expanded it. Kristen at Anacat hangs her head in classic movie shame. I have never seen Breakfast at Tiffany's, so I can't offer either bouquets or brickbats.
I like her honesty.
Mhm.
What are brickbats?
I don't know. I, for some reason, thought they were like a cookie that was in the film that I missed. I don't know.
Did I? Did I? I
That,
don't. There's a lot of funny references, but I don't know if I heard brickbats.
at Rex Crumb, the again the obvious elephant, in a room. Who else besides Mickey Rooney as Mr. Yunioshi belongs in the Mount Rushmore of non-Asian guys playing Asian guys in a movie? I know Ricardo Montalban played a few Japanese guys, so he's there, but who else?
Oh, wasn't it in The King of I? Yul.
Brenner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't he? Yeah, he did that. Well, I know that what's her name? Oh goodness gracious. She dated one of the Spider-Mans. She played
Kirsten Dunst?
No, not that one. God, big
Emily
eyes.
Stone?
Yes. Emma Stone. She played, I think, a half, like a hapa, like half Asian, half white girl in a movie not that long ago. But
Well,
yeah.
she must have
So-
borrowed Mickey Rooney's fake teeth because Emma Stone has a vicious overbite. She should get corrected. Post haste.
Wow.
Hey, it's funny because it's true.
True.
Next, at Bango2331. No, I haven't seen this either. Oh, we're getting a lot of those today, so let's just eschew those. Actually, and that is going, in fact, to wrap it up for Ask a Gutter. So, without any more hesitation, Kevin Israel, let's get Natalia in her blue box heaven and ask her to come on here and do what she's been dying to do for the last 2.5, 3 weeks. And that is, of course,
Gut.
the
Sacred
cow.
cow.
Moo. That was very
That's-
moving. I loved it. Yeah.
It's added in post, but I love how you add it in there yourself, Natalia. Bravo.
It's like you're oh really? Okay.
Yep.
It's like you're really ruminating on it, milking it for all it's worth. Sorry. I'm
Pun.
I'm
Pun.
awful.
You're the best.
So yeah, this was a tough one because I'm going to put it out there. I do not hate this movie, but I do think it's absolutely overrated for a myriad of reasons. I watched it, and like a lot of young women, I enjoyed it. I did not have her poster up on my dorm room wall, mostly because it was David Bowie. Really, it was like patron saint of androgyny was gracing my wall. But there's a lot of things about this movie that I'm not a fan of. Also because I read the book. The novella by Truman Capote, which was even more progressive, even more wild. And I think the movie misses a lot of awesome opportunities while still, I don't know, I think staying in the same vein of like the 1961 hip swing in time. So do you want me to just kind of go through real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, bullet points away. Go ahead.
So one of the things, so they wanted to cast, Truman Capote wanted Marilyn Monroe in the role because in the book, she's this blonde kind of, little snack. She's about 18 years old actually in the book. And I don't know exactly how old she's supposed to be here, but roughly around that time, we found out later that she got hitched at 14, which is also very problematic. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, so I think it's interesting that they wanted to go with a brunette that was not exactly kind of a va-va-voom type. I love Audrey Hepburn. I think she was great in the film. Rumor has it on set she was very insecure. Apparently, Blake Edwards said she was always looking for reassurance, which is so strange to me because I find her the most assured woman ever in this movie. But I feel like it's an interesting casting choice to not allow kind of the iconic heartthrob or babe of this time to play a smart woman. I think it says a lot about studios that are, a woman cannot be funny. You got to pick two, right? Funny, hot, smart, let's be real. Audrey Hepburn is all of those things. However, she's not like the stereotypical, brick shit house that Marilyn Monroe is, right? So I think that was one kind of mistake, was going away from that that sort of casting choice that Truman Capote saw. But I mean, honestly, Mickey Rooney is the first thing that jumps out at me. Mr. I always say his name wrong, Yunioshi. The way they portrayed him, it could have been, there was a myriad of Japanese actors at that time that were working actors that could have played that part and actually been funny. Mickey Rooney's portrayal of Mr. Yunioshi is this sort of overboard, over the top, the fake teeth, the buck teeth, the accent, almost cross-eyed, sort of that jilted movement, and just it's high mockery, right? It's like it's almost vaudeville, how over the top it is. And that could have easily been done in I think a more subdued way. And I think it takes you out of the film completely. Every time he comes on screen, I'm like, what are we watching? It's like when you're watching or a single camera comedy, and then all of a sudden you got like a 4-camera setup. What am I watching? This doesn't make any sense. It's a totally different film.
To interrupt you for 1 second, did you ever see Dragon, the Bruce Lee story with Jason Scott? Do you remember the scene where they go see Breakfast at Tiffany's and Lauren Holly just looks at him and he's uncomfortable and they end up walking out? I mean, that was back in '93. I think that came out, and people were like, "God,
it's a great movie too."
It is a great film. It is very good, very underrated too. But exactly, so that same exact point you just made, you're like, "Why is it here? And how the hell was this?" I get it. We're not going to sit here and hold people's feet to the fire in 1961 because things are obviously very different. But even just taking that out of context for 1 second, it's not even funny. Like there's no any punchlines. That's what really went so rankly. Yeah, it's not even funny. That's the word. That's my point.
Right? As somebody who works in comedy, it's like if you're going to go and make a bold racist choice like that, and you don't even try to add jokes, like what are you even doing? And it was very disappointing and disheartening to see that happening. And even like Flower Drum Song, which has an entirely Asian cast played by real Asian people, came out the same year in 1961. So do not tell me.
Did not know that
Hollywood wasn't ready for, Asian actors. They existed. It was just, this was a choice. And I, Mickey Rooney, I don't want to hate on him, but like, come on, I would hope that you would have better choices. It's kind of like we see the whitewashing of actors even now. There's plenty of films where you see white actors playing, Egyptians and Jesus, which we know was not a white guy. Okay, so the sex worker aspect in the movie, you've got 2 sex workers, right? You've got a male gigolo, Paul or Fred, and he's working for, he's a kept man. He's got himself a sugar mama who gets him an apartment, and he basically gets paid money to have the sex. And he actually is doing it. Yeah, I think he is doing le sex with her. Holly, it's a little bit more vague, right? We don't quite know if she's doing le sex. It's more just like she's going and being a companion. She's talking. She's stealing money from men when she goes to the bathroom. But they're both.
Holly was fucking.
She probably was fucking, and that's okay. And but that's the thing. I think it's
$50 for the powder room. Nah.
Right.
And then $50 for the cab ride. Did we forget about that?
For the powder room.
Yeah. What happens in the powder room? You know what happens. But I think that's one of the coolest parts of the film. So in the book, she is a call girl basically, and the narrator, or Paul or Fred, is a gay man that his name is never really revealed. She calls him Fred in the book. But what's so cool about this book is that there's this platonic relationship between a gay man and this fabulous kind of socialite woman that I feel like the movie's missing. They made it less about Holly and more about the relationship between her and Fred rather than the book. It's like, look at this woman who's so tragically sad, trying so desperately to just kind of reinvent herself. Because even when she meets, and we'll get to that in a second, when she, at one point when her husband, Doc, who's, very old, but Buddy Ebsen, it is Buddy Ebsen, right?
Yep.
Yes, Buddy Ebsen, from, if you're familiar with the Beverly Hillbillies, shows up and you're like, that's got to be your dad. That's got to be your dad. And then it's like, I'm her husband. And you're like, get the hell out of here. And he married her at 14, which I feel like they look, I get it. It's 1961. They're also trying to play this film out like they're playing it off like it's a romantic comedy, but it's a tragic film. I mean, this girl got married at 14 and this, old man is chasing her down in the city. But what's so sad about it is I think that he, again, won't let her go. And she is trying to transition to this. And it's very kind of almost reminiscent of what we're going through right now with people having a dead name and transitioning from, one gender to another. And he keeps insisting on calling her Lula May when she's like, I'm not Lula May anymore. That person is gone and dead. I am Holly. And so it's this sort of transition from, her past to a future that she can't seem to shake. And I felt like the movie was really gentle and soft about the fact that this old man married a 14-year-old. How did you guys feel about that?
I think that this is the only time that this film ever got a cheer was when the guy said, "Yeah, I married her when she was 14." Like West Virginia went, "Yeah, buddy." Like that's
I told you it's okay.
yeah. There's grass in the green, dog. Oh, sorry. There's grass in the field. ... Know what I mean? You know, that's gross.
And yeah, and even when he tries to sort of justify it, like, you might think she's 14, but she had a mind of her own, and it's like, oh my god.
You might think she's 14, but she fucks like a 15-year-old. Let me tell you, son.
Oh dear God. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he would want her to front Monogram Muff if he could. I mean,
I love how it's going to make its way in the conversation back and forth the entire rest of the show.
It really, I want to make it a callback. I want to keep it. We're in a couple years. The band's going to be here, guys.
And a T-shirt.
And
that's all. I don't even want the band. I just want the T-shirt that says Monogram Muff.
I want the comeback band. I want the cover band before there even is a band. Hold on. Let me see. So yeah. Okay. Aside, so in the book, Paul is, or the character that is the narrator, which doesn't even have a name. Paul is kind of made up for the film. This character, the narrator, is gay, and even Holly says she's a bit of a dyke herself. So there are these queer undertones that Truman Capote clearly infused in the book. That are very much left out in the film. It's just ironic to me that they felt like they had to scrub the gay away, but it's cool if Mickey Rooney plays a Japanese man. That's cool. That's fine. You know what I mean? And they had to also do their best to not make her look like a call girl, even though it's so obvious that she is. One thing I think is really neat that the movie has that the book does not is that party scene. I don't know how you guys felt about that party scene, but it was like a ketamine fever dream. I mean, like, I really enjoyed that, especially growing up. But they didn't really in the book. It's more just her and a bunch of Johns, and then that one annoying girl that shows up. But
the ginger that falls down.
Yeah.
Yes, the timber lady. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh no, wait.
Yeah.
Yes.
The model.
The model, exactly. The one that brings the Brazilian. Let's see. Hold on. I'm just going back to notes. Sally
Brazilians and monogrammed muff, though.
Yes, exactly. It's all the theme really is a good run through. The Brazilian is really interesting too. Like the fact that she's just like, I'm going to go for the president of Brazil. I like how she's looking forward and looking up.
Social climbing. That's what I call
really. And the book was supposed to be, and the story is supposed to be a real sort of commentary on class and elitism and those struggling to get ahead. And with, Holly, it's clear that necessity is the mother of invention. Every time she gets kind of knocked down, she's like, okay, well, I want you to make me a list of the richest Brazilian men in Brazil. And I'm going to make, lemonade out of some lemons. And get myself out of this. So I do, as somebody who considers myself an independent, strong woman, I love that the film wants that. But what bothers me most, I think, in the end, and this is where the book and the end and the book and the movie very much differ, is in the ending of the book. Well, she does get on that plane. Seemingly, she does let go of Kat and free Kat, and she never gets Kat back. She can't find Kat. And she gets on that plane. And again, it's a story of friendship in the book between her and her gay friend. And that's what I think is so powerful, is because we see so many romantic relationships portrayed in film. And one of the things you don't see is strong, really passionate and deep relationships between a man and a woman that are not sexual, in nature. And I think that's what makes the story so intense and so kind of sad, because in the book starts out with, this narrator getting a phone call from a mutual friend that knew Holly, because they used to hang out at this bar together. In the book, she didn't have a phone. She would go to a bar to use the phone to call her Johns. And so he goes to the bar and meets the bartender, and the bartender says, look, I want to show you something. Mr. Unioshi came into the bar and basically showed this bartender 3 pictures, or gave him these 3 pictures. And in the book, she really wants to go to Africa. Holly really wants to go to Africa. And he pulls out these pictures, and Mr. Yunioshi had just gotten back from Africa. And in these pictures, you see, an African man holding a wooden sculpture that at first glance looks like it could just be any sort of wooden sculpture. But when he took a closer look, he realized, holy crap, that's Holly. That's definitely Holly. This is Holly. So it's kind of a sign. Not only did she get on that plane, she became that independent woman that did what she wanted to do. She kind of like, it was the ultimate, I don't need a man. I don't need anybody. I'm going to make this happen on my own. And so that's what I think made the book so magical, was like, we never know what happens to her, but she may or may not be in Africa doing her thing. Cause the story goes that she and a group of other white people came into a village on horseback. It was two men and her. Sounds like a throuple, if you know what I mean. It's kind of hot, right? And they show up at this village, and the two dudes are sick. She is not sick. And she buddies up with this woodworker, and the woodworker and her become fresh and friends. And according to Mr. Yunioshi, they did share a mat, although the barkeep at this place is like, she wouldn't do that because racism. But most likely she did share a mat with this guy, and he sculpted her. He whittled some wood to make her, instead of a platinum or monogram muff, it was a wooden muff. And so
is that like Amish porno? Wooden muff.
Wooden muff would be great. Yeah, a hole in the sheet. Oh, no, that's
just Jewish. Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm getting my very repressed sexual politics mixed up.
Oh, well, that's the next podcast we're doing.
We are oppressed sexual politics. But I just find that ending so much more beautiful rather than Breakfast at Tiffany's, where it is a love story between her and Paul, which, if that is the case, again, I think Paul takes it on the chin a lot from Holly, because she's just like, because there is a moment where they do get some love. There's some love between them. And then she immediately goes back to, I'm going to screw every last guy that's not you because I want money, and I find that to be like, he kind of puts up with a lot of bullshit, right? And
all those guys do. All those dum-dums do. I'll get into it.
He's a cuck.
Yeah, they all are. She's got him trained that sense.
One of the scenes that I really wasn't a fan of was when they were in the bar and there's a stripper there, another sex worker, right? And here they are, two sex workers basically, taking the other sex worker down a peg for not being really talented. Like, she's not.
And they're not even tipping her, which blows my mind.
Yeah. Rude.
That's like a former waiter. That's like a former waiter going to a restaurant and saying, "Here's 8%. Knock it out of the park, lady."
Yeah, and she was making prolonged, intense eye contact with them, which is an oxytocin release. I like to bring up the science of these films. Thank you very much. Sure. But she was doing some real, she was playing, and they were critiquing her, which I thought was like, "Hey guys, kettle, pot, meet each other. Come on." So I that kind of disappointed me a little bit. Again, it's not enough to say I hate the movie, but it's just like that's a little hypocritical.
The stripper scene took you out of it, Natalia? Is that what did this in?
It was just the stripper scene. First of all, we didn't see boobs. Where were the boobs? Where were they? But yeah, I was a little bummed that they, they should have invited her to hang out. I felt like she was, she was putting it out there. But when they're in Breakfast at Tiffany's, it reminded me. So I went to Breakfast at Tiffany's to do my mom's bidding, which was to get her boyfriend at the time a keychain. We decided let's get him just a nice keychain. So you have to take a number. They give you a number, or I think it was one of those things you get at Applebee's that buzz when your number's called or whatever. And I'm walking around the store, and I went to the engagement rings because why the hell not? I've never been to Tiffany's, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the biggest honking diamonds you've ever seen, and I hear, "Are you looking for yourself?" And I look over, and it's Ben Stein of Win Ben Stein's Money, of Ferris Bueller fame, who is also now, I think an Uber right winger. But at the time, I did not know that, and I was just like, "Hi, how are you? Oh my goodness,
diamonds."
You should have said, "I'm going to buy this with something DOO economics, voodoo economics."
If I could do it again. But he was out with some friend. I was on my lunch break. He was probably just whatever. I don't know why I was working on Christmas Eve, but I was. It was a weird time. But
Wait. So
yeah,
then what did he say when you're like, oh, what was your response to what are
I-
you doing with the diamonds here?
yeah, I know. He's like, "Are you looking for yourself?" I was like, I mean, I think I made some comment about like, I mean, I don't plan on getting married anytime soon, or some sort of like snarky little young, gutter snipe comment. And he was just like, okay, but then he was like asking like, "Are you an actress?" It was definitely one of those like, okay,
Oh yeah.
pivot. Are you an actress? And I was like, yeah, actually I am, but I'm working in a law firm. And he gave me his agent's information and said, call them and say that I sent you. Cause this is 2000 to give you.
He wanted to go lightly.
Heyo. Did you say,
Oh.
let me call you with my Tiffany sterling silver telephone dialer?
I
for
wish,
$10?
what? If I could go back in time with my rotary phone and just like,
I bet his dick looks like a silver telephone dialer.
sorry, that was rude. I was not sex positive. And there was a coffee shop called Stir Crazy that I popped into, and I was having a cup of coffee, and Phillip Seymour Hoffman was sitting out front, and I was a huge fan, and I said to him, I said, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. You were so great in this film, and I hope you win the Oscar, because he was nominated. And he was very gracious and kind and said, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And very kind of just sort of quiet to himself. And then a man sitting across from me goes, yo, did a horse kick you in the leg? Because of my scar. And he's like, what the hell happened to you? And he said it just like that. And I think I made a joke like, no, I cut myself shaving. No, I got hit by a truck. And he was like, what? And I was like, and he was just clearly kind of a dumbass that was just trying to be an asshole, honestly, about it. And I was like, okay, and I don't mind talking about it, but he was not been very very nice. And some silence goes by. I make, I was like doodling in my book or whatever, and then all of a sudden Phillip Seymour Hoffman goes, so you got hit by a truck?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I'd have follow-up questions for that too.
Yeah.
I have a lot of follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Like, did you have like the before and after pictures? Like, you ever go to casting things and they see the scars and you have the pictures of you like, before, after. Tell you what, let's wrap up the notes from you. What would you give this film after the old 1 to 10?
Oh, let me just look at this one more second. Oh, I do have to say, I love the car change. I got to put this out there. One thing I love about that movie is that car change at the end was epic. As a woman who's done a lot of car changes, that's a one side note. Oh, and and kicking the cat out. So she kicks the cat out of the car during a rainstorm, which is it's rude. Sorry, rude. Cats don't like water, generally speaking. Also, outdoor cats on average kill 2.4 billion birds. Cats on average, outdoor cats kill 2.4 billion birds a year. So that was very irresponsible of her.
That sounds made up. Fact check, please.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't feel like it. I'm the end. I'll take you at your word. Our crack commandos team of listeners will indeed fact check. I'm sure you're right though. So number 1 to 10.
1 to 10. I would give it, because it's not terrible. It's not terrible. It's a fine movie with great acting, I think, aside from Mickey Rooney. I would give it 5.2.
5. Never had the 0.2 part. Kevin Israel. Take it to the house. Take it to the house. Take it to the house.
Yes. If you don't hate this movie for any other reason, you should hate it for this fucking song that we all had to live. If you're a Gen Xer, you had to hear that 1,000 times a day in the early to mid 90s.
Yes.
Anyhow, this movie, and I'm gonna try to leave aside the Mr. Yosh stuff. Natalia covered all that. I mean, that's all there. This movie is about two assholes who find each other. And they are both such assholes and such self-righteous, self-absorbed assholes that they're perfect for each other. The only person I liked in this movie was the cat, and I hate cats.
Yeah.
The cat, when she kicks the cat out of the car and you see the cat all wet and sad, that was the only time I felt anything. There was no emotion through this movie. It was horrid storytelling. And listen, I know we're living in 2023 and I'm trying not to apply 2023 standards. We've done some older movies on this podcast, but this was just painfully stilted and inexplicable storytelling. like the beginning of the movie when he's just walking up the stairs and then he just randomly knocks on her door, or he buzzes her, she lets him in, and he's like, oh, can I come in? And she's like, sure. And then they just start, like, encounters don't happen that way. It felt like we need these two people to meet. We don't know how to do it, so we're just going to make this happen. There was no evolution of anything in this movie. Things just happened without explanation because we need to get through the story. And you felt it, and it never evolved. Like the nothing evolved. These two, and it's really interesting what you said about the book, that he was actually a gay man, and it was a very different relationship. That makes so much more sense, because in this movie, these two have the chemistry of oil and water. I can't even believe they liked each other. When he says, "But I love you," it's like a robot telling a toaster it loved. Like, there was just nothing there. There was nothing to care about. There was no character development. And I get that in the 60s, when you're looking at, a woman trying to, be self-sufficient and strong and find her way through it. Okay, whatever. She's an asshole, and she's an idiot. She is, and the whole thing with Sammy Tomato, or whatever his name was, like, come on. You didn't really, like, at least if at some point she gave the wink and the nod and was like, of course I knew I was giving, like, code to something, like, but she was a fucking idiot. Like, there was nothing redeeming or strong, or there was nothing, like, when you said that at first, I don't remember any women having posters of this movie up, and maybe they did, and I was just too busy trying to get them in bed. I don't know, but I don't remember ever seeing, and I don't know why a woman would ever say, this is who I want to be, because she's an asshole. And I guess in a way, if you want to be like, ooh, women can use men like men use women or whatever, fine. But that didn't even come across to me. That it just came across that she was being used by men who were getting kind of what they wanted to, and she was sort of leading them on, but everybody in it was miserable. Everybody in it was absolutely My son just crawled in here. He completely ruined a good tangent that I was on.
He's another pile on this film too, I take it.
Yeah,
he's gonna shit on it. Is it a dirty diaper? Let's bring it.
Yeah, I'd love to throw a dirty diaper at this piece of shit. The movie angered me just so badly because there's nothing redeeming about it that I want to take away from it. And it feels like the archetype to every other romantic comedy that sucked after it. Like, so many things that happen in this movie, you're like, oh, I've seen that. Like the shopping scene in the Five and Dime where they're all trying on stupid little stuff. That's been done 1,000 times after. And it sucks every time because nobody ever does that. That doesn't happen. And like the scene at the end when she's driving away, I was like, please stay in the car, and just like, at least that would be some kind of like her committing to this life. Like, she's doing. And then when she gets out, I was like, fuck, why is she getting out? There's no reason for her to get out. There was no character arc that got her to the point where she suddenly decided that she loved him. There was no realization. There was no nothing. And it was just suddenly like, well, we need to give these fucking assholes in the seats a happy ending. So get out of the car. And it's just like, why? Why does anything in this movie happen? And why should I care? And I never have fucking breakfast at Tiffany's. And I think that really sums it up. Like, even the title doesn't happen in this movie. Like, nothing happens in this movie that I should care about. And like the scene where she finds out, and so Fred dies. Okay, we're supposed to be upset about that, I guess. But there was they never established anything outside of her calling this guy Fred, which they never explain, and there's never really any payoff other than in the library. It was like, I'm not Fred, and she's just like makes a stupid face. Nothing ever comes full circle. You don't feel a completion of any of the story in this movie. So then when Fred dies, it's like, all right, he's dead. Okay, like I didn't feel anything about that, and she freaks out, and then the next scene, fuck Fred. Like, there's no consequences to anything that they set up in this movie for you to go, oh, like, I see where this was going. And then the whole thing with Doc, that was just so, leaving aside the 14-year-old thing, we covered that, and I'm sure Gootee is gonna fucking kill the 14-year-old. But there was just no like. So this was her husband, and he's like, yeah, we'll take care of her, and he gets on a bus and leaves. Like that. There's nobody. There's no payoff. There's no consequences to anything, and it doesn't make the audience care. I don't understand what people find so appealing about this movie, because even what it seems to try to accomplish as far as the idea, and you sort of started to explain it about the, two sex workers, he doesn't even see that he's a sex worker at first. And then you kind of see that he almost has the most complete character arc where he tells the decorator or whatever she was that they're done, and even that just kind of drops off and is like he never got that big fuck you moment. He sort of did, but you never get any payoff to any of the stories in this movie, and it just feels just like a waste. And we've done a couple of these like 60s, 70s genre movies, and I feel like that was just how the storytelling was sort of back then. They were like, well, here's some stuff that happens, you put it together. It's not our job to make the movie. And it angered me. I was so angry throughout this whole. I was going to text you, Kev, but I didn't want to let you know that I hated the movie because I'd never seen this movie before. I didn't know anything that this movie was about. I had no idea.
By the way, I have zero shock. I knew this was going to get you, and I'll get to you in a while. Yeah. I knew you're going to hate it. The only question I have, well, you'll answer me in a little bit, but do you hate this more than 2001: A Space Odyssey? We'll find out.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, that's fair, and I actually did bring that up to my wife. But yeah, this was just such a god awful movie, and what makes it worse is it could have been a good movie. And by the way, I have a team up because this is how I want to remember Papard.
Yeah,
fucking plans come together. Unfortunately, his plan never came together in this movie. He gets the cunt, but she sucks. She sucks, and you know what? She's gonna end up fucking him over. That's what's going to end up happening 5 days or 5 months or 5 years from this relationship, them kissing in the rain. She's going to fuck him over because she's going to realize she can't be kept down. And he's going to end up with a fucking cat without a name and a blue balls. It was a terrible movie. It was just terrible. It made me mad. Natalia, you seem like a very nice person, but you made me mad in picking this movie. And I'm just left with anger. And now I kind of want to read the book because the book sounds 1,000 times better than the movie. But So to answer your question, Kevin, this is worse than 2001: Space Odyssey. And here's why. This could have been a good movie. There was potential here. There was story here that would have been interesting. There were themes they could have really worked into that they just fucking left die. And it was just a waste. This movie is a 0.
Wow.
Like I'll never watch it again. I'll advocate against this movie. I'm starting a Facebook group of people who hate this movie. I fucking hate this movie.
What did your wife think?
She didn't even, you know what? We watched half of it and then we had to go to bed last night. And then I started watching it again. And I never asked her what she thought of it, but she didn't want to finish watching it. So I guess that sort of tells you in itself what she thinks of the movie. When the movie ended, she was like, oh, she walked in. She's like, oh, you finished it? I was like, oh, yeah, I started. She's like, it's fine.
More than Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, I think so. Because again, Napoleon Dynamite, there was nothing redeeming about Napoleon Dynamite. That couldn't have been a good movie.
Not even Tina?
Nope.
No. Everything in that movie sucked.
Got it.
But there was a movie here that could have been good that they just shit the bed on. Literally every storyline, everything that happens in this movie was bad, but could have been better, and they didn't. They just shit the bed. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I
feel much better about my choice.
I
was afraid you guys were gonna kill me and be like, I can't believe you shit on Breath. Yeah. Okay. Nope. Well, I feel okay. Wow. Woo.
These notes brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com. Don't forget guttingthesacredcow@gmail.com to say hi. And of course, we love those 5-star rating, 2 or 3 sentence reviews. Leave them. Notes. In college, every dude had a combo of the following movie posters: Fight Club, Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas, Clockwork Orange, Star Wars, Every woman I've seen who had a movie poster had one of them up, and that was this film. So
Really?
oh yeah,
I must have just been oblivious.
And my brother's dumb dildo ex-wife had it hanging up in his house before they got out. He threw her out.
What was the poster? What's the poster
Of her with the cigarette with the long in the holder and like the pearls and like the sunglasses. So the huge fake teeth make an Asian impression funny, really? Or was it funny to have an Asian landlord instead of your typical Russian or Orthodox Jew in charge of a building? She lost her key.
That would have been less offensive to me. As a Jew, that would have been less offensive.
Someone who lived in Crown Heights and had that for a long, that would make, I would be like, okay, yeah.
You're not, yeah. Not many. I don't see many Asian lords unless you're in Chinatown. Again. Next, she lost her key to get in the building, but somehow has a key to get in her apartment. Well, the horse shit started already, Kevin Israel. The guy gives her $50 for the powder room. You know how much is in today's money? $503. From what my dirtbag friends tell me, get you a middle-of-the-road hooker, or 3 if you have a Groupon. Hot damn, those piercing blue eyes belong to none other than Colonel Hannibal Smith of the A-Team. You know what? How to start this movie off right? Have her begin by going down on him as he lights a cigar, stretches out his arms, and says, "I love it when a plan comes together." If you didn't watch the A-Team or the movie, stop and go watch it now.
Seriously.
Drinking milk out of a champagne glass while waxing poetic about an overpriced jewelry store. This is truly a stage 5 clinger who has at least 24 stuffed animals on her bed when it is made. $50 for the powder room and $50 for a cab ride. She is certainly soaking these bozos who easily fall in love with a stripper after the first song of a lap dance. Let's give credit where credit is due. Audrey Hepburn is one of the few old-time movie stars that holds up in today's time. She is very stunning in this film.
She's pretty.
I'm a tough critic on these older ones. They just don't hold up, but man, she's got it. Hey, when was the last time someone whistled for a cab and it actually stopped?
Thank you. Has that say it.
That doesn't happen.
Has that ever really happened in life?
I've seen it happen once.
Yeah, I worked in Manhattan the last 12 years. Never saw it. It's always a handout. It's a half. I hate to say it. It's almost a half Nazi salute when you reach for the cab. So you have to kind of dial it in, and you have to do the thumb. Now you're hitchhiking.
But even if you could whistle that loud, how's the taxi going to know where the whistle is coming from?
Right. Sure. People in Manhattan leave their windows open all the time, so randoms can just crawl down the fire escape, open the window, and hop into bed. That doesn't happen. You have 6 locks and, I don't know, wind chimes around there, so in case there's a night prowler, you hear them. Letting a complete stranger babble away while she sleeps on your chest in hopes that she wakes up and decides to give you some sex. We've all been there, fellas. We've all been there. 21-year-old Kevin is nodding and shaking his head as I write these notes now. I am shocked that Holly hasn't broken out into tears at least 3 times to keep the drama train going. Besides her looks and her quirky idea to do random things, she doesn't have much going for her, except, of course, being a modified pussy grifter. Another great band name.
Pussy Grifter is a fantastic band name.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. When she suggests something they haven't done, I like that scene. But how about this one? How about he stops smoking for a day and she could start by not blabbering about nothing all day long? The dialogue was incessantly terrible.
Oh, so bad.
A field trip to Tiffany's to find $10 was amusing, of course, unless you're the salesman who works on commission that works there and shows superb patience and doesn't say, if that was me, go, would you like a blue box for $10? Or how about some receipt tape? How about that, young lady, in your cutesy-poo little field trip scavenger hunt? This whole scene reminded me of the scene in I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. The how much for a soda? How about 50 cents and you pour it in my hands? That's what that reminded me of. It is a baller ass move going into a library and signing the copy of your own book. Reminds me when I was in college and me and a few compatriots got thrown off our campus radio station And then we grabbed all the college newspapers, autographed the front page, which reported our story, and then put them back in the bin. We got kicked off for that's a ball, right? We got kicked off for doing a Howard Stern-esque format, and one person complained. One. Viva la free speech.
That's why we can't have nice things.
Stealing masks together is fun, but you know what's much more fun? Trying on masks at a sex shop and then maybe buying a pair of Tiffany nipple clamps later on.
It's always a great second date.
I am shocked the ASPCA had nothing to say about that cat getting flung to the window against the shutter and then parkouring off the blinds. That was by far the most entertaining thing of this film I've seen so far.
And how many times did they have to film that to get him to stick to the wall?
Oh,
that wasn't a one take.
No. Just like by the film we just did a few weeks ago, North by Northwest, if you watch this film and you're not from the New York City area, you would think there are 0 black people in New York City, which I assure you is not the case. Mickey Rooney was the Brad Pitt of his day. Let that sink in for a second. 8 marriages, including Ava Gardner, before Frank Sinatra filthed her up. Let me pause.
I don't, yeah.
Good for him.
Britney Spears couldn't even hold his fake Asian teeth. I was trying to get a line in there like, oh, she couldn't hold his dick, or she's a pimple on his ass. I tried to shoe it in there. That one didn't work. All right, listen, they're all not platinum muff guys. Let's be honest. Oh, and now she gets tied in with a drug dealer. This just made a hard right into what the hell is going on in here. Besides, the writers are on peyote for inspiration. This made about as much sense as the last week's episode, Ione Sky's dad in Say Anything getting nailed for Medicare fraud. What? This is so silly. The only thing sillier would be if a time portal opened, Doc Brown, Admiral Akbar, and Pam Grier came out and all started having a threesome. Which,
by the way,
I would not be able to take
That would
my
be
eyes off
amazing.
that. Yeah, right?
Yeah, you made a great point, and I just have to put my lawyer hat on for a sec. They would have never ever let her out of the police station. They would have not given her bail.
Yeah. If
If she was a key witness and going to go state's evidence against a mobster or whatever he was supposed to be,
protective
they
custody.
would have. She would have been in a cab driving home.
Right.
She would have been in witness protection somewhere. Horseshit. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
This entire plot had me saying at least 14 and a half times, who gives a shit? I get she's the American geisha girl, but the free spirit who won't be tied to anything or anyone. I get she enjoys creating a vortex for dummies to fall into after falling in love with her and finance her lifestyle. Holly Golightly is the watered-down James Bond name that fell to the cutting room floor. Her sister, Labia Major, made it to round 2, but got snuffed out. Okay. This
More like muffed out.
Oh,
I'll see you for the re-raise, all in. This DJ Berman guy, the agent, is a guy who tells you what he does for a living every 5 minutes and promises you he can get you the best deal. I'm not even at this party, and I already want to leave. Everyone at this party is an asshole. Is everyone on acid here? Oh, but this is a 10 out of 10 in white people horseshit category. When Audrey Hepburn yells timber, no one wanted to catch the drunk ginger. I get it. Gingers have scabies. I don't want to touch them either. Last time I checked, which was when I had a shore house, cops don't turn on the sirens when pulling up for a noise complaint. That doesn't happen.
Good point.
They roll up in, as Biggie says, they roll up in silence and violence. Audrey Hepburn's hat is almost as annoying as that woman's hat who was at the Oscars last week. Thank you. That joke is about green for another 5 more minutes before it goes. What the hell?
You better get this episode up quick.
Minute 40 in, and I'm bored to shit. I watched the World Baseball Classic for an inning and a half. Unpause. Buddy Epson married Audrey Hepburn when she was 14, and they just skated over this? Who wrote this screenplay? Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew? and now it's my turn, Kevin Israel. And I said, what about breakfast at Tiffany's? And I said, I think I didn't see a single black person. They wrote a song for this film. What 90s band is going to equally waste their time and write a song about the English patient? I dare you. My guess is Dishwalla.
Oh.
I'm hitting Natalia with a 1-2-3 punch combo, Kevin. She's digging this.
Yeah. Be
I like
Duncan
the-
Sheik. I don't know.
Look, that's a good one too, Duncan Sheik. The old guy didn't put up much of a fight after taking a cross-country trek almost when she said to get out. But you know what he could have done? He says, hey, if you don't take me back, you're grounded. This film is like a plane at Newark Airport going nowhere fast. These characters fucking stink. George Papard and Audrey Hepburn are smoking so much, you'd think they're in the delivery room waiting for a baby to be born. Or walk the Green Mile, which is more fun than this film. Let's bring this baby home in the landing. The plot meandered. Oh, sorry. Yeah, the plot meandered slower than a DMV worker on shrooms. How are you women putting this film on a goddamn mantle? Because of the poster? Ooh, iconic. That is a weak-ass reason. The Empress is not wearing clothes, kids, and I'm glad Natalia has the ovaries to say it's overrated, but I am not happy she made me sit through this sandpaper to the rectum. Sandpaper to the rectum of a film. This film blows. It's a 2, not a 0, but I have no problem with you giving it a 0. People who like this film are dumb. It is not fun. Is that all?
Love it when we're lying.
Oh, like the
That
fucking.
was
Now that's.
beautiful. I'm going to send you a tub of Preparation H, a gift bag if you were.
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
I would just love a $4.99 refund for my Amazon rental. Thank you.
Oh, I watched it on YouTube. Oh, man, don't do that.
Oh, you did? Oh, poop. All right.
Oh, shit.
Critics, 5-star reviews. Hepburn's captivating and style-defining performance as Holly Golightly cannot be underestimated and gets better with age.
Ugh.
Barring the worst racial stereotype ever to disgrace a Hollywood film, this is a richly detailed movie.
Richly detailed?
In what, shit?
What does that mean?
Well, the movie
details don't make sense.
No. Movie looks very good, and you need a heart of stone not to love a cat. Well, guess who has hearts of stone? This guy and my friend Kevin Israel. Although I felt the cat parkoured. I give it credit for that, though. That was pretty badass.
That was cool.
Fabulous, but lots of drinking and cigarettes. Who wrote this? Nikki Sixx?
Oh, my.
I knew that was coming.
Clutching my pose.
Critics 1-star reviews. It would be ridiculous to pretend that Hepburn doesn't look utterly divine in the iconic little black dress, but the beauty of costumes is overshadowed by the presence of Mr. Yunioshi, a horrifically racist caricature. Whatever it is, I just don't see the pizzazz in Holly Golightly's life. Way overrated mishmash of an old school chick flick. Yahtzee. Dated, leisurely paced, leisurely my ass. This dragged. Leisurely paced romance that doesn't deserve its stellar reputation. And again, I say Yahtzee. Amazon 5-star reviews. There is literally nothing likable about Audrey Hepburn's character by the end of the movie. She's simply hot and whimsical, but her whimsicalness is overblown in an attempt to hide her flaws. She's fairly deserving, I think, of now what we call nowadays the, quote, manic pixie dream girl, just a 1965 prototype. If you need further convincing that this movie is outdated, just remind yourself that Mickey Rooney's admittedly extremely hilarious portrayal of an Asian American is simultaneously one of the most racist things you'll ever see. Why am I giving it a 5-star review then? Well, because the characters are just so damn relatable.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Signed David Duke. George Papard's best performance in his career, excluding the A-Team, of course. He's still kind of wooden, but Audrey Hepburn, OMG, she is so fabulous in this movie. Beautiful and endearing. Directed by funny man Blake Edwards, the guy behind the Pink Panther movies. This movie has lots of laughs and tears. No, it doesn't.
Nope.
Mickey Rooney plays an embarrassingly racist Chinaman, but hey, the movie was made in 1961. The soundtrack will blow you away. The empty streets of Manhattan in the early morning after a night of God knows what. I laughed, I cried. Watch this, bitch. You won't regret it. All right, so let me be the lawyer for a second. A, Mickey Rooney's character is Japanese. And B, Chinaman is probably on par with calling him an Oriental.
You're not wrong there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next one, all caps. I love this movie. It never gets old. A true classic. Who is shouting from the rooftops about this film? I am
Audrey
not
Hepburn's children. I don't know.
Yeah. I am not sure why some comments were made as racist. This film acting, Mickey Rooney did a great job, and is it so bad to be a white male playing the part of a Japanese photographer? Look at the acting. He played the part well.
What?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Terrible take.
What the? Yes.
Amazon. He was. It wasn't even funny material wise. If you even have a shitty Asian stereotype, you may be able to squeak a laugh out if we got a few good jokes in there. Maybe, but not even there.
No.
Amazon 1-star reviews. I could not get past watching the first scene of a movie where a white actor, Mickey Rooney, plays a Japanese character with exaggerated buck teeth and eyes so squinty that he wakes up, he can't even see the lamps in his room and walks into them. Further contrast to a Ken and Barbie hookup, relaying to what American culture defines as attractive versus the Asian as ridiculously grotesque. And you wonder why generations of millions of Americans, young and old, hold on to certain stereotypical and damaging views of Asians as this film continues to be lauded as a classic film. If this were portrayal of any other race, the scene and film would be banned, edited, or pulled. Shame on you, Amazon, for perpetuating this disconnected, ignorant, and degenerate depiction of Asians without any acknowledgement of the racism in the film and what harm it has created for society. Signed, Larry Flint. The blowhard at the end, like, oh, really? Like 60-some years later, going to fault the people for that? It's not good look now, we know that, but shame on you, Amazon. Okay, that's
yeah. And nobody. I mean, other than that one idiot, nobody's watching this movie and going, "Oh yeah, that seems yeah, that's probably the Asian people probably like that. That's good." Like that was terrible. We all know, but you can't say you. I mean, the movie sucks, but you can't take one shitty performance and just a bad look from the '60s and say, "Well, nobody should ever watch this again." That's insane to me.
After writing that review, they jerked off in a ceiling fan to complete the metaphor. For a script so hideous to make Audrey Hepburn unlikable is truly a feat. Mickey Rooney, eminently annoying. Best part, the classic cars. Did you write that, Kevin?
I agree, though.
This plot includes excessive smoking and drinking to the point of passing out. Also, the main character was wed at age 13, wrong, 14. She said she was divorced later on. Assumed sugaring the male lead. Assumed sugared man also seems to be a kept man by the rich woman. Not sure why the main female character makes money when she visits the bathroom, powder room, on occasion. Supposedly a fee to be paid for her conversation. Maybe she's a paid escort. The two main characters also shoplift for fun. The female lead throws her cat out of the taxi to get rid of it on the streets during a heavy rain. And the main character brother dies. And sorry to say, the male lead, in my opinion, was boring. Also, lots of littering by the characters. Frowny face. I felt icky after watching it. Signed, Captain Planet.
Wait, did they say lots of littering?
Yes, littering.
Wow.
That might be the most ridiculous complaint of a movie I've
really
heard
like
on this podcast.
You know, my daughter would write that review if she would watch this because she hates litterers. Kevin Israel, did Natalia Reagan gut the sacred cow?
Yes, she did. Yes, you did. But I will say this: she stabbed it and she got it pretty good. And then you and I came in with our katana blades and cut the thing's fucking head off.
I think we came in Constructicon style, merge, and just demolish this abysmal.
And I'll form the head.
Exactly. I kind of am the person that started twisting the lid off, and by lid I mean the head, and then you ripped it off in great force, and then eviscerated it with your talons. And I love you for it because I can be too gentle, and I almost want to amend my rating because you guys have made me. No, I'm not kidding. Like,
What's it now? What is it now? This is the first.
This has never happened.
No, because like I feel like sometimes I'm just like I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I'm too fucking nice. I know
They're all dead, Natalia.
I'm working.
Everyone who wrote this film is dead.
Right. Well, do you know why I didn't want to do Chasing Amy? Truth, because Kevin Smith is still alive. Okay.
Barely. No, I'm just kidding. Clerks 3 is very good. I liked it a lot. Natalia, what's your new score then?
3.
What?
Yes, it dropped because I'm mad.
That just dropped.
3.
Well, because I looked at my notes and I called her an asshole like 5 times in my notes, but I didn't say it because I just feel like it's speaking ill about the dead. But you know, she didn't write the.
It's a character. You're not saying Audrey Hepburn's an asshole.
And I think it didn't. It did her dirty because you're right. How do you make her unlikable? It's tough because she is very likable. And
I'm so glad to have been here for this.
Thank you. Well, no, Kevin squared. You helped me see light, and I appreciate that. You know.
All right, so everyone, thanks again for coming on, Natalia Reagan. Appreciate you. Thanks for making us watch this turd, and we'll see everyone next week. Take care.